Satan had other ideas. He comes in with a big old clove of garlic and enjoyed putting it in the batter to ruin what God was ecstatic over. We can look at different examples of mistakes, and a lot of people will imply that God's the one who created them or did them. In 2 Samuel 24:16, if you recall this, when David was feeling a little high on the hog and decided to start counting people. Let me see who I am reigning over. You remember this? How many people died because of his arrogance? Thousands. I believe it was 70,000 specifically. Who made David king? God. Did God make a mistake in doing that? Not at all. David was a good king and had the ability, starting out as king, to not make any errors, not make a mistake. He's human, he's going to, but this was an extreme error, and God held him accountable. Gave him 3 options. Basically, here's 3 different spankings I'm offering to you. 3 different punishments. I don't care, you pick which one it is. The mistake wasn't God's for putting David as king. The mistake was David's for choosing to do a census against God's will. It's real easy to try and turn it on God as being the mistake maker. However, he did nothing incorrectly. And in Jeremiah 42:10, God dished out another punishment to the Israelites. They were taken captive. They cried out, and they were punished. Did God make a mistake letting the invading kingdom take them? These were his kids. These are his chosen people. I love you guys more than anyone else. He has stated that. These are people I watch out for specifically. I'll give you everything. Everybody else, not so much. But he let these people, his people, be taken captive. And they were taken captive. There it is. Jerusalem was surrounded. Everyone was captured. And they were all taken off into captivity. That's how long the sentence is. I was discussing this with my Uncle Ken, and we were both in agreement that the sentence this long, they were taken captive. People were slain in the streets. Women were attacked and raped. People were just killed maliciously out of just spite because they could. And then when they took them off in captivity, the ways they were bound and led off in chains, well, I won't get into the specific illustration, but it's not pretty. Ugliness, just mankind's nastiness in rare form right there. And these are God's chosen people that he has been taking care of all this time, and he let that happen. Was that his mistake? No. God didn't make the mistake. They did. Their lifestyle, their lives, what they chose to do or not do, God held them accountable. The mistake would have been God's had he not, because if my parents had said, do this or don't do that, I wasn't going to do this, but now I'm going to. Anyone hear about a spelling bee? I was in 6th grade. I was a typical boy. And my bedroom was a typical dumpster. I had toys, clothes, food probably, bowls, I have no idea. Whatever it wasn't where it was supposed to be, and it was all over my floor. Bed wasn't made. And my mom said, if you don't clean up this room, I'm just going to come pull you out of school and make you do it then. Wow, take me with a vacation, take me out of school, what do I care? However, she did it when I was all geared up and ready to do the class spelling bee, which would choose who would be the school representative spelling bee, who would then go into state and all that stuff. And I had high aspirations. I was going to be a professional national spelling bee champion, because that's where the money is. And it's coming in 20 minutes. 20 minutes, we're going to do the spelling bee. All right, Mr. McCormick, can you send Rusty to the office and have him bring his jacket? I'm putting the jacket on, so I'm walking down the hall, and I see my mother there, and she's just got this sad face because she's got to do some dirty work here, but I'm sure someone's just died. And she tells me, I'm following through on what I told you was going to happen. This is about my room? Are you kidding me right now? Oh, I'm full of and have zero right. She is completely 100% accurate in what she's doing and why. And she held me accountable. If she hadn't, then I would lose respect and authority for her. For years, I always said it was her fault. I had since changed my ways and appreciate that. And what she did, I have 4 children, and I'm like, I'm coming and getting you for a spelling bee. You better believe that. I hated it then, I can respect it now, and I appreciate her for what she did because she held me accountable, and for that I respect her and respect the integrity of action, reaction. Consequences exist, positive and negative. I had a negative consequence for my negative action. I respect her for that. I respect my parents for holding me accountable throughout my entire life. They let me off a few times here and there just because they let me off. But they sure didn't. Somebody asked Sam Robinson, how'd you raise all your boys? He goes, lots of love. God didn't make any mistakes. He loved his kids, his creation. But he also had to hold them accountable and make sure they understood right from wrong. And I meant what I said, and this is you're in timeout in Babylonian captivity. Third point. Had a young lady who grew up in a wonderful home. Mom and dad loved her, taught her right from wrong. Here's how you clean your room to stay out of a spelling bee problem. Respect your elders, go to church, say your prayers, do right, do wrong, understand how the differences. Dad treated mom the way she should be treated. Mom treated dad, so she saw, the type of husband she should go looking for, and she saw how that husband should treat her as she got older. And do your chores, study hard, make good grades, be a good person. One of the other things that he had said, which I'm sure every parent has said to their children, don't drink and drive. Everybody's heard it. Everybody believes it. It's all in the news of different instances of things that have happened when people have had a drink and they've driven. Her 21st birthday comes around and she just drops down to some friends to a local bar and has a margarita or two. She's not slurring. She's not stumbling. She's only 5 minutes away. And she goes to her car and says, I'm fine. Goes home. Some guy who's trying to get home from work, walking, he ends up, it happens all the time, walks between 2 cars leaving to cross the street. She didn't see him until it was too late. Her faculties were probably minimized because of the alcohol, nothing to any great degree, but however, she struck him, even if he just walked out in front of her, but the fact of the matter was, she'd been drinking. A field sobriety test was done, breathalyzer was done, and she was under the influence of alcohol. And now in the back of a police car for involuntary manslaughter. Her dad sat through court right behind her, was always there encouraging her. His demeanor was obviously sad because he can't protect her. He loves her, however, she's having to deal with a pretty intense situation. She's found guilty. Her sentencing comes up, and the judge sentenced her to 15 years. Right then and there is when the bailiff comes over and he grabs her, she stands up and they said, you have 2 minutes to say goodbye. She's going from there to jail. She hugs her mom, hugs her siblings, turns and hugs her dad, and he's got tears going down his face. And she looks at him and says, you were right. At the day of judgment, I don't believe we're all in a room like this and people stand up one at a time and says, Gary Eller, stand forward and everything will be held against you. I believe we are one with God, and then Jesus is in right there next to him as you come before God's throne, and we are judged by our actions. Someone who doesn't know God, doesn't know Christ, comes before him. Your actions are listed. They roll up the scroll and start reading up the things, and you look for your attorney, which is supposed to be Christ, and what's his response going to be? Go away, I don't know you. And it's my story. The bailiff, the angel comes over, grabs you by the arm, walks you over to this side of the door. This is the door to hell. You walk over. You look to God and say, you were right. Now, a lot of people might just assume whatever, that God's just going to go, bye, Felicia. But you have to understand, in the Bible it says, God knew you in the womb. He knows the number of hairs on your head, however many or how many few it may very well be. But you turn around to God and say, you were right. And God's going to say, I know I'm right. I'm God. I am omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. I'm all those things. I know I'm right. I don't need you to tell me I'm right. What is wrong with you? Of course I'm right. I put it right there. I love you. I don't want you at this door. For me to be right, you have to be dead. What parent wants that? My third point is God does not want to be right. He knows he's right. My mother came to the school to pick me up, and she hated the 3-minute drive. She hated the hassle. She hated the pain of having to deal with it. And she told me to walk back home, and she goes, don't you get hit crossing that street. But it broke her heart to have to do what she had to do. But for God to be right, it's not just breaking his heart, it's doing that, but his kid is dead. Cut off from him. There are things God can do, things God can't do. He can't bring you back from that. Once that door closes, it's closed. And God has to follow through, because if he didn't, then he loses respect, he loses authority, and everything he's done before that holds no water. All right, so now let's change gears. How do we keep him from being right? Well, that's not too hard. It's not necessarily fun, but it's not too hard. We look in 1 Thessalonians 4, 3 through 7. I'm going to pull it out because I wanted to hear it. God gives us throughout the Bible, he gives us, here's how I want you to do. Here's what I want you to be. Here's what I want you to avoid. It is God's will that you should be sanctified, that you should avoid sexual immorality, that each of you should learn to control his own body in a way that is holy and honorable, not in passionate lust like the heathen who do not know God, and that in this matter no one should wrong his brother or take advantage of him. The Lord will punish men for all such sins, as we have already told you and warned you. For God did not call us to be impure, but to live a holy life. That's just one verse. Throughout the Bible, he tells us the specifications he has for us. Here's how you're supposed to live and why. So now we have some guidelines of what we're not supposed to do. What me, are not supposed to do, and then what I'm going to make sure you're not doing. Now, am I doing that to get you in trouble? Like my 3 kids live to do, I swear. Do I win getting you in trouble? Do I win anything? Do I get an award? Do I get a little extra special house in heaven? No, there's no point to that. I should want to correct you, not get you in trouble. There's no winning for getting in trouble. Let me steer you, help you steer differently. Not because I'm greater than you and I'm better than you. Let me help steer you because I don't want you at that door because it's led you down a path you shouldn't be. This starts right off the bat with Cain and Abel. Now, Abel's dead, so he didn't have much to say about this. However, when God asked Cain, the redundant question, but he already knew, where's your brother Abel? What is Cain's response? I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? The answer is yes. Yes, you are. It is my job to get me to heaven and you to get you to heaven. However, I see any one of you going down a path that I think is going to get you in trouble. I don't score any points to not say anything. And the thing is, God pays attention to that. He hears what you didn't say. It's real easy to just ignore something because it's awkward. It's like, oh, hey, I saw you were doing blah blah blah. You know, it's not really. That didn't look right. We can't always assume the negative. Tim Hickman had stated in a talk earlier. You know, if you see him walking into the liquor store, well, his wife's making a great wine reduction sauce, which I wasn't invited to enjoy. But you cannot assume anything there. He didn't attend services that morning. Well, he went to somebody who couldn't attend services. And he was helping somebody else get to services by going and picking them up. That wasn't his wife, another female who wasn't his wife. Didn't think I was paying attention to you, Tim. Don't jump to conclusions, but don't assume there's nothing tangible there. Do some research, but don't do it to be the person who's always sitting there, I totally saw this happening. You know, there's always somebody who's that person. If you don't know who it is, make sure you grab a mirror. It might just be you. Matthew 18:15 gives us some specifics on if your brother sins against you. We all know this one. Go to that person, then go with 2, and then go before the congregation. And if they don't figure it out, you drop it. That's theirs now. They're holding the bag on that one. Hold people accountable, but don't put yourself in jeopardy in the process. And then finally, here's the big one. Here's the fun one. Matthew 7:1-3. Judge not, lest ye be judged. And everyone's going to say, well, only God can judge me. And I'm like, well, here I am. I'm judging. My dad enlightened me to this one the other day, and I'm sharing it now because some of you will understand this one. Marshall Keeble stated, I may not be a judge, but I'm a pretty good fruit inspector. I may not have to judge you, but I can see what you're doing and what you're not doing and how you're affecting things. This door is horrible. This door scares me to no end. And it's a good, solid fear because I want to be a good person. But aside from wanting to be a good person, I want to follow what God said. And so I want to be led to this door. This door smells like cookies. It's got the best music, the greatest sound system. fluffy pillows. Has Bob Lawrence's grilled salmon with the all over. He made me hungry when he did that. Cookies and just good eats, good songs, good music, and God. That's what this one doesn't have. The door shuts, and that cut off from God. You can't come back from that one. We all have the ability to sin today and have the ability to get back in God's good graces, just like that. He lets you. He wants you. Please, 11th hour, we can do that. Your job, my job, our job, is to make sure everybody gets that opportunity. Going out and getting other people into the family, that's one thing we're supposed to do. Keeping those in the family healthy and well in the family, that's another thing. Get yourself there. Grab a friend, grab a brother, make sure they get there too. Everybody fails. Everybody stumbles. This congregation right now is hurting. We're hurting because people we love are either sick, we're sick, or have passed away. And it doesn't take much to get your heart broken, and it's so quick to blame God. Really fast. We are quick to judge God for what he allowed to happen. I want to see it. Book, chapter, and verse right here, right now. Bring it to me where it says you're given assurance of a great life. Nothing's going to go wrong. You don't have it. God never promised it. He goes, life is life. However, you live it well regardless of what happens. Some get it better than others. And I will give you a fantastic life for fulfilling your duties in this one, good or bad. The lesson's yours. I want to be a good person for God. I want to be a good Christian. And people that I just want to despise, I don't want to see headed this direction, or I have to hear that they're about it while I may be alive, so others have passed on, and they're walking this direction, and I can't imagine what I'm seeing there. It has to be horrible. But I got to tell you, there is one view that I truly do want to see. I cannot. It's fantastic. Puts a smile on my face, puts tears in my eyes, and I hope it does the same for you. Sandy, help me out. This is called First Day in Heaven. There we go. For people I can't stand, that's what I want. For every one of you, that's what I want. I want my wife. I want my kids, my parents, cousins, aunts, uncles, cousins, in-laws. Man, that's a good picture. That is happiness. That is heaven. That is you made it. That is God going, oh my goodness, you did it! Yes! Oh, that was a close one at the end there. I saw that part, but you pulled through. Man, that was awesome. I am so proud of you. Look at this. Come here. Come on. Oh, it's going to be good stuff. That's what I want. She is happy and is, oh my goodness, I can't believe I did it. And God's like, I know, right? Huh? Have a cookie. They're amazing. Watch out for your brother and sister. Everybody needs to be there if they have the ability to do it. Go out and find them. If we are able to help you come to terms with something you've endured, are enduring, need the prayers, need the help, need the encouragement, I am willing to help you. Anyone's willing to help you. If you want to be a part of the family where that is what the end game looks like, we'll do that. Water's ready. We're ready. We've got the clothes. There's not anyone here who wouldn't jump in there and baptize you. No one in this room, I can imagine, is not willing to do so. I ask you to help me, I will help you, and let's all help each other to find a way to make that happen for us. If we can do that, let us as we stand and sing.